1. Warning. General language. Okay, this is just a general rant, but my shift last night made me feel like I was going insane. I work at an average restaurant that appeals to sports teams and families. That said, it is still a restaurant, and I know that what is going on with these families happens at higher-end places as well. I'm not old, I'm Gen Z, almost 20, so I feel like I should have a good take on this. Since when the fuck was it normal to have your children this addicted to a screen? Why am I having to wait 30 seconds for your bitch-ass helpless offspring to go get their iPad so I can put their pasta down? It's actually vile that parents think this manner of raising their kids is okay. You're in public at a restaurant as a family, and they're watching brainless YouTube videos. I mean, if they were watching a movie on some sort of art or informative media, I'd be a little less disgusted. But it's Cocomelon, for crying out loud. And when they whine and cry and scream and the parents just laugh it off? There are ways to discipline your child without emotionally or physically abusing them. Be a parent. And then they leave an insane mess every time. They'll bring their own food from home because their spawn are chronically afraid of trying new things, so there's a Tupperware of Cheerios with milk on the table that the kids will smash and they don't clean it up because God forbid they use the stack of napkins I gave them to clean up after their living mistakes. Last night this mom got angry, like actually angry at me for bringing them their food while the kids were still on their tablets. What the fuck? I didn't even know what to say. I just stood there holding the plates like, what? Eventually, I put them down on the edge of the table, and I just thought that was the end of it. But the mom asked what I was doing. So I said, I'm just leaving the food here so they can get it when they're ready, which, considering the kind of person I am, was remarkably mature. She then rolled her eyes, pulled out her phone, and started furiously typing. Her husband then distributed the food to the kids, who both didn't even notice, it seemed. They remained glued to the iPads. So I left because screw them, and brought out the parents' food. Neither of them said thank you, and before I asked if I could get them anything else, the mom said, I'd like a manager, please. Manager didn't take their side, but gave them a free dessert. By the time the bill came, I handed her the machine, and she looked up at me, smiled, and asked if I was seriously asking for a tip after all that. You stupid bitch, your food was fine and it came out on time, and I was constantly by your side even after being treated like crap. Then her husband laughed, she laughed, pressed no tip, $67 bill, tapped her fancy silver credit card, and slid the machine across the table. The kids were still watching YouTube. I swear to God, I thought I was in a cartoon or something. What kind of corny-ass interaction is that? Laughing and then pressing no tip like some sort of villain of the week. I don't even understand her logic, like, usually if someone is an ass to me, I can see it from their perspective, but, like, this time I'm absolutely dumbfounded. Anyway, these Gen Alpha kids are so screwed. God, I hate the world. 2. I just have to reach out and see if anyone has a similar experience or maybe offer some advice. I'm 5 months pregnant, but I'm not arrogant, nor do I have a resting bitch face. I'm typically a very positive person with a good personality and big, genuine smile. And the gift of gab. I consider myself a very thoughtful waitress with a pretty good memory. I get compliments about my service on a regular basis. I am confident, and I give the kind of service we all want when we go out to eat. As a waitress, we judge our service, don't even lie. I have worked in a family breakfast and lunch cafe for over a year now. Generally, it's a wonderful job, very little turnover, and we are like family. The cafe has been in business for over 35 years, and we are typically pretty busy throughout our day. We have a lot of elderly who have been regulars for decades. Being so close to the hospital, we get a lot of local traffic, and we are off a major highway with easy access, so we also get travelers. Now, this is what happened today. I walked in a great mood first thing in the morning, as per usual, checked my tables in my section, and then went and escorted my first customer to their booth. Everything went smooth. It was a mom, late 20s, and son about 12. Their food came out fast and order was correct. They were in and out within 20 minutes. They both had water that they never touched. No tip. Okay, annoying. First tip of the day sets the pace in my opinion. Second table is a father, 30, is a son, about 7. They had a coffee and Dr. Pepper. Kid had pancakes and the father had our house favorite, the hash stack. Very simple order, only took 5 minutes from the time they ordered. I refilled the coffee and soda with permission, checked to make sure everything was cooked to perfection, and if they needed anything. Thanked them, and dropped the check off when they were almost done. Offered to-go drinks and wished them a good day. No tip. Third table. Elderly man ordered coffee and 1 single biscuit and gravy. Disabled, heavy-set woman with missing teeth ordered coffee and the chopped steak breakfast. For reference, their order came out to a total of $22.40. They were very needy, but treated well. Refilled coffee several times, made several trips to fulfill their various needs. When I gave them the check, they told me they were $1.40 short. By this point, I was ready to walk out the door, go home, and go to sleep. I went to the back of house to consult my manager that they were unable to pay all of their bill. The prep guy overheard and handed me $2 after my boss told me it wasn't her problem. These folks seriously had the audacity to keep the 60 cents that was a change. Of course, no tip. Now, this fourth one surprised me. A young mom, in her 20s with her maybe 8-year-old daughter, sit down. I approach them. Greet as usual with a smile. Ask what drinks you can get started. They both have waters. Mom orders a West Coast Benedict without bacon and toast. Daughter has a funny face pancake with a side of scrambled eggs. Easy enough. Except by this point I was kind of frazzled and I had forgotten to put the daughter's eggs in. On top of that error, her toast came out late because the cooks didn't drop them in the toaster. The eggs were done within 2 minutes. I took extra care since I knew I had made the mistake. They left no tip. Finally, my fifth table tipped me $5.55. I wasn't the only one dealing with bad customers today. It was a wreck. I tried to remain positive the whole time. I'm still in shock that happened 4 times in a row today. Has this ever happened to anyone? Any useful tips for me? I'm never checking credit card slips again. 3. I am not a waitress or bartender anymore, but this story is from 2011, 2012 when I was. Some of the memories are hazy for me, but I will do my best to make it coherent. I worked at a small, family-owned Italian restaurant. At the time, the owner mentioned that the restaurant's sales were down, and he was going to hire his sister as a hostess because we servers must be doing something wrong. We were all kind of shocked at that. I mean, we noticed it had been slower, but we were still dealing with the aftermath of the 2008 recession, so we assumed it had to do with that. Also, we didn't have any complaints other than wait time. The restaurant made almost all the food by hand, so we were confused. I'm going to quickly explain how we did the hostessing in the restaurant. Every Friday and Saturday, we would rotate one of the servers and have them hostess. We would be paid more, and the servers would tip us out. As hostess, we didn't just seat people, we would also bus tables and run food if needed. We didn't have a busser or table runner, since, again, it was a small restaurant. I think the maximum we could have in the dining room was 75, and in the bar 20. We also didn't have sections, so the hostess would rotate who got sat next. The owner's sister, Julie. It was Julie's first day, and she started at 4 p.m., but hadn't shown up yet. We had people waiting at the door to be seated, so we quickly searched for her and couldn't find her, so we sat the people. Of course, once we sat them, Julie shows up. I've never met her at this point, and immediately berates me, telling me she's the hostess and I am not allowed to seat people. All I could think was, great, here we go. For 2 years I put up with Julie. She would berate us, would not allow us to enter our tips into the computer when she was working, even though we did that all the time by ourselves. She questioned me on a good tip I got and asked the guy if he was sure he wanted to give me that much, because she couldn't believe that I got that tip. The guy flipped out and yelled at the owner. Another time she gave every customer the owner's number because she was mad at us for not bussing our tables, and told them to complain. We were slammed and could have used her help bussing. Oh yeah, she wouldn't bus any tables or run any food. She would just seat people and we had to tip her out. She would shove trays in our hands if we were carrying out one plate. Didn't matter. She said it was classier to carry everything on a tray. She would go between liking me and hating me because I'm not a pushover. She mostly hated me. At one point we were so fed up we asked our manager, head chef of the kitchen, to please talk to the owner about his sister. The owner set up a meeting with us. Right before the meeting started, Julie showed up, and all of us looked at each other, confused why she was there. The owner then berated us for treating his sister poorly, and that we need to treat her better. We were all so pissed. One server did quit over her. Julie really hated her. When we would hostess, we would get a piece of paper and write each server's name, and make a chart of how many people and tables they had taken to make it fair for each person. The server's name was Lucy, and Julie wrote her name down as Lazy because she was annoyed that Lucy wasn't bussing her tables because she was busy. She quit, and wrote a note to the owner saying Julie was why she quit. He still didn't see an issue. It started to get to the point that I was going to quit. I have no idea why I put up with it for so long, but I made good money and I knew the place. Julie was not giving me tables at all one night, and I said to the manager and head chef, "If she doesn't give me a table, I'm quitting." He reached out to the owner, who told her she needed to give me tables. She pouted, refused to work, stood at the entrance and loudly called people on her cell to complain. Since she refused to host us, the manager, our head chef, had to that night. The owner only, thankfully, listened at this point because he was starting to get multiple complaints about Julie, but still hadn't fired her because she was his sister. The straw that broke the camel's back is this. I was good at computers and learned super fast. I learned our point-of-sale system very quickly when we got it, and was even given manager abilities on it because I understood it so well. Our point-of-sale system was at the waitress station, and Julie was helping another server with an issue. The owner wanted to discount one person's food on that table that had one bill. If you select the food and hit discount, it will discount the entire order. You had to split the order to discount it. Doesn't separate the checks doing it this way. I tried to help Julie before with the point-of-sale system, but she called me a know-it-all and said I thought I was better than everyone else. So when she was having trouble with the discount, I said, fuck it, and didn't help. Julie had figured out another way to specifically discount one item. If she rung it in on its own, she could just discount it, and then put all the other orders in so that she could separate the discounted item, but keep it in one check. Meaning she re-rang the entire order in and failed to mention to the kitchen to not make the food. I completely forgot about it after a while, and Julie and the server had left. So when the food came up and the chef rang the bell and said the server's name, I realized what happened. I said to him, "That server already left. I think they re-rang an order in and never told you not to make it." He was rightfully angry and called the owner to explain what had happened so he didn't get in any trouble. Julie ended up calling the restaurant and said to the bartender, "Is the bitch there?" And my bartender said, "Who?" And she said, "Tell her I'm going to come there and kick her ass." I had enough at that point. I called the owner and told him I was done, that I can't work with his sister anymore, she's nasty to all of us, and told him that she called and what she said. She was fired. I stayed for maybe another year or so, but yeah. Also, this woman was in her 50s and I was early 20s. There's probably other things I'm forgetting, but that's the gist of it. She took everything as an insult. You would think you were having a normal convo with her, and then she would get mad at what you said. When she first started working, she told me she hosted before, so being friendly, I asked where. She got mad at me for that, because she thought I was being snarky about her hostess skills, when I wasn't. 4. This is a kind of an off-my-chest rant, so just listen if you have the time. I just have to vent somewhere. I've been a server for over a year and a half now, and pretty much hate everything about being a server. I hate seeing customers come in. I dread seeing a lot of people coming at the same time. I absolutely dislike having to socialize with strangers that sometimes are mean or way too talkative, etc., etc. Main thing is that I feel like we have to work way more than servers at other restaurants, with all due respect, of course, because there's a lot of things we have to take care of. I work at a Korean and sushi restaurant. We have to take care of taking orders, hosting, carrying the food, sometimes bussing, taking phone calls, delivering and refilling multiple side dishes, 6, delivering and refilling rice and sauces, serving drinks, alcohol, preparing edamame and miso soups, giving plates, prepare wasabi and ginger, cut tofu and miso soups, cut and prepare sauces and fruits for desserts, cleaning the whole restaurant and bathrooms every night, taking trash out. We have to do the inventory every Saturday, which takes around 30 minutes of one of the servers' time on our busiest day during the shift. We have to prepare the dessert ourselves, which is Korean shaved ice and takes around 7 or 8 minutes to prepare, only one, and requires the complete attention of one server. Not to mention we have 42 tables and only 4 people in front of house on weekends, 2 servers and 2 bussers. My boss has other restaurants in which they only sell sushi. I've worked there once in a while, and it's way, way easier compared to the place I work at. They have way more people working, less tables, and don't have to worry about half of the things we have. I can't move to any other locations, by the way. They need me in the one I work at. Only reason I'm still there is because I don't have to work as many hours as I would have in other jobs. I work around 25 hours a week, and I get paid bi-weekly around 900 to 1300, which averages to 20 to 25 an hour, which is really good compared to what other non-skill and degree-required jobs would pay, but as compared to what some servers earn, I can't believe some people are making half my check in a single night without getting as busted as me. I know it might be a problem with the place that I work at, and not only with being a server in general, but either way, I just can't wait for the day I don't have to be a server anymore. Which probably won't be soon, because I'm not even studying or doing something for it to stop anytime soon. 5. I work at a very remote resort, and a few weeks ago I had the most baffling experience with a guest. 2 older ladies come to the front desk to check in. They're an hour early, and their room wasn't ready. I told them they could wait in our bar area or have lunch if they wished. After their lunch, they came back to the desk to check in, still before check-in time, and I gave them their key. The first red flag was me trying to explain to them all the main spiel, and being cut off every 5 seconds with questions they would have had the answers to if they had any patience. I bite my tongue and finish up telling them we need them to order their dinner by 4 p.m. One of the ladies, Lady B for bitch, asks if there's a menu in the room, to which I told her there wasn't, but she could take a photo of one or come back later to decide. Lady B proceeds to go into our restaurant and steal a menu, unbeknownst to me, until another employee let me know after she'd left. They both go off to their room, and 5 minutes later, one of them comes back, Lady A this time. She said she booked a twin room, and they seemed to be in a king. I apologized and then moved them into a twin, no problem. I then said, I believe your friend took one of our menus, please make sure she brings it back. Lady A apologizes and says she will, and thank you for sorting the room. Another 10 minutes pass by and Lady B storms into reception. "Who messed up our rooms then?" was the first thing to come out of her mouth. Her tone was accusatory. I said, "Excuse me." She continues, "We very specifically booked a king twin, but you've put us in a king." I told her we don't have king twins, we have kings or twins, and that they booked a king, which caused the mix-up, but we've been able to change the reservation, and it should now be a twin room. I then asked her if she had the menu she took from our restaurant. Probably a little antagonistic on my part, but I just about had enough. She says, "The way you go on about these menus, you'd think they were gold dust." I could only laugh at this point and ask her for her order. Lady B orders the steak, and I ask her how she'd like that cooked, to which she says, "On the rare side of medium," so I clarified medium rare. She repeats herself, "No, on the rare side of medium." I told her I didn't understand how she wanted it cooked, and she says, "Just write down rare side of medium." At this point, I go to get the chef because I know if this steak is cooked wrong, it's coming back to me. I tell her what Lady B has said, and the chef tells me that is medium rare. I ask the chef to come and talk to the woman because I'm at my wit's end with her rude attitude. Lady B repeats it to the chef, who also says, "Medium rare?" Lady B continues to describe how she wants it, and eventually the chef says, "Medium rare, but not so pink." Lady B replies, "I knew you'd understand." I felt as though I was losing brain cells talking to this woman. After her stay, she made sure to write a complaint email to my manager and left a nasty review on TripAdvisor. Luckily, my managers were there and knew it was all a lie. Cried my eyes out, but guess I can take a bad review off my bucket list. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 228. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do poke the like button and share the video with friends and families if you'd be so good. If you'd like to get the videos a little bit earlier, then you can support me through my Patreon page, which is linked in the description. You'll also find a link to the Hellfreezer merchandise store, which is located on Teespring. And you can make one-off donations during streams and videos like this one by hitting the button just below the video in the shape of a heart with a $sign in the middle. Hit that button and you can select which donation you'd like to make. You don't have to do this, and you never are expected to do this, but I'm very grateful to those of you who do, and it is very helpful to me. All right. As there's no other business today, we'll move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, do you find yourself, if you enjoying movies, books, TV shows, that sort of thing, any form of media really, do you find that you'll stick with it even when it stops being good, in the hopes it might get better again, or do you just move on? Speaking personally, I'll give things a chance to turn around, but I won't stick with them in perpetuity. For example, the show The Flash. I really enjoyed it in its earlier seasons. I haven't even finished Season 8, let alone Season 9, which I believe was the last of the show. And it's happened with other things too. I'm not just picking up on The Flash, it's just an example of something that I had enjoyed that I lost interest in. But why don't you let me know what you think in a comment below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.